It all starts with the MC holding an expulsion notice, without anyone knowing why his vitality dropped so bizarrely. The people around him only see him as an easy target who constantly gets bullied. So he ends up being treated like an absolute piece of garbage shunned by everyone. That relentless nightmare with a terrifying beast was once the most despair-inducing abyss for him. With the violent impact of the monster, he ended up getting utterly crushed without being able to defend himself. But that only lasted until his fury was completely ignited within that dream. Taking advantage of the situation, he lands a powerful, energy-charged strike against the creature. At that moment, a golden light floods his body, making the MC finally understand what was going on. That nightmare that everyone fears became the exact stepping stone for him to level up at an absurd speed. On the blue planet, demonic beasts run wild everywhere, causing destruction. Relying on the training during his dreams, he decides he is going to use this to his advantage. The goal now is to become the one who leads all the geniuses of his generation. Thus, he intends to reach the absolute peak of martial arts. In the year 2045, countless portals appeared out of nowhere all over the planet. Right after, a massive amount of unknown beasts came out of there, wiping out humanity in a grand cataclysm. Thermal weapons only worked against the lowest-level monsters. High-level beasts, on the other hand, could easily tank the damage or simply dodge. Surviving this, humans discovered an unprecedented gas called origin chi. However, after the first use of heavy weapons, a colossal beast called Blood Moon Sirius appeared out of nowhere. Led by this monster, humanity was crushed and forced to retreat, abandoning the use of nuclear weapons. This lasted until humanity's first martial artist, known as the Tao God, stepped onto the scene with everything he had. After a fierce battle lasting 3 days and 3 nights, the warrior finally defeated the creature. With this incredible victory, the era of martial arts cultivation began for the entire population. Unfortunately, the talented were a minority, with only a little over 30 million one-star martial artists. The system was divided into 4 major realms, starting with the transcendent, then the condensation, and the saint. Reaching the wandering divine level, which represents the smallest percentage, became everyone's goal to keep getting stronger. 50 years have passed since this new reality began. Inside a bizarre dream, the MC is brutally attacked by a red demonic bird. Unable to react in time, his body is pierced by the monster's overwhelming strike. Suddenly, Chen Mu wakes up startled and completely out of breath in his classroom. The boy tries to catch his breath while waking up in the middle of class 10. Exhausted, he realizes he had that same terrible nightmare again. Professor Zhao calls him out, wanting to know how he still has the nerve to sleep. Holding the mock exam results, the instructor informs him that he ranked among the bottom 10 and will be expelled. Bothered by the situation, the student questions if the professor did not make a mistake in the grading. Firing back immediately, the professor guarantees the results are fair and tells him to pack his things and leave in 3 days. Even though he is devastated, the boy begs for one more chance, swearing he has been training non-stop lately. Clenching his bruised fists, he feels the frustration of all his hard work bubbling up. The student tries to argue that there is still some time left before the national exam, and that he can improve if he keeps cultivating. Despite acknowledging the boy's effort, the instructor throws it in his face that in this world, everything comes down to talent. Stating he has been teaching for 10 years, the man says he is the first student whose vitality is dropping instead of increasing. The meter clearly shows his score dropping from 90 to 68 with no explanation. Making sure to humiliate him, the professor laughs, saying he gets weaker the more he trains and that his run is over. The other students burst out laughing, finding the whole situation hilarious. Taking advantage of the moment, the professor tells the class to stop laughing, as 3 more underperforming students will be expelled in 30 days. Looking at his own bandaged hands, the boy feels completely lost. He wonders how he is going to make money in the future if he cannot get into a martial arts university. His mother needs medicine every day, and his younger sister is also going to take the exam, needing a lot of resources. Later, during dinner, his mother asks her husband to take a day off to rest a bit. The father refuses, saying that tomorrow he can carry more bags to buy supplements, leaving the boy with a heavy conscience. His little sister affectionately puts a piece of food in his bowl. She tries to cheer her brother up, assuring him that he trains hard every day and that his vitality is higher than hers. Supporting the idea, his mom asks him to take care of his health and says she is certain he will pass the university exam. All excited, the girl plans that the 2 of them will make money together to help the family once they graduate. Hearing this, he thinks about how talented his sister is and feels like a terrible brother for dragging the family down. Remembering the professor's warning, he recalls the order to stop with the delusions because there is no more hope. Walking alone near the school, he overhears other students gossiping and laughing about his expulsion. A heavy rain starts to fall, accompanied by lightning lighting up the dark night. The boy keeps walking through the storm, stepping in the puddles along the empty street. With his head down and completely soaked, he runs into a classmate who wants to confirm the story about the expulsion. Seeing that it is his good friend Wang Yu under the umbrella, he is told not to be sad. Changing his tone, the guy warns him that the first lesson of school is that it is every man for himself after leaving. The MC falls onto the bed in his rented room, lamenting that they are no longer best buddies. Before, he always thought he tried hard enough to stay in the top 10 and earn the class's respect. But exactly 1 month ago, everything changed when he started dreaming of a blood-colored crow every single night. Even training harder and sleeping less, none of it helped against the invasion of those nightmares. Adding it all up, he has already been taken down by that demonic beast 30 times in a row in his dreams. Frustrated, the young man takes off his armband, getting ready to leave. He lets the landlady know he is giving up the room because he got expelled and has no reason to stay there anymore. Without much choice, the boy closes his eyes and tries to get some rest to forget his problems. When he regains consciousness, he frustratingly realizes he is back in the same destroyed landscape from the dream. The blood crow flies across the sky, letting out a terrifying screech right above him. Being a level 1 predator, this creature is way stronger than an average martial artist. Blaming that thing for destroying his vitality, he laments that all his hard work was for nothing. The beast attacks with everything in a brutal dive, while the boy crosses his arms trying to protect himself from the impact. Suffering from the fierce attack in the nightmare, the boy gets his arm slashed by the creature as sparks scatter everywhere. Staring at the beast with anger and gritting his teeth, he questions the reason for that look of contempt and if the thing thinks it can underestimate him like that. Annoyed by the situation, the MC throws it in the monster's face that it wrecked his vitality and still has the audacity to mock him. Focusing energy in his own hands, the young man states that now he has absolutely nothing left to lose. Charging forward with everything, he warns that even putting his own well-being on the line, he will not let the main culprit get away unpunished. With a precise strike loaded with power and flames, the boy hits the monster dead-on, causing a devastating impact. Without giving the creature a chance to breathe, the student preps another furious attack, demanding the beast to stop fighting back. Unleashing all his pent-up rage, he throws a powerful uppercut, wanting to put an end to that torment once and for all. Hit directly by the absurd force of the attack, the demonic bird is blasted away, losing control of its flight. Right then, an explosion of intense light takes over the place, making the guy let out a groan of pain as he is blinded. Floating in that bright space, he feels like a door just opened in his mind and cannot make sense of the unbearable headache. Suddenly, the boy's eye glows red, while his body goes through a deep bone purification via golden light. Right after, a massive pillar of reddish energy erupts into the sky, showing the scale of the power he just awakened. Feeling the power rushing through his veins, the MC realizes in shock that the golden light purification actually happened. Staring at his own energy-covered hand, the young man figures he just awakened telekinesis, a skill exclusive to experts from the Saint Realm. Still trying to process all that craziness, the boy stands amidst the rubble wondering what in the world just happened. Looking at the monster's fading body, he can barely believe he single-handedly obliterated the beast that is the ultimate nightmare for beginner martial artists. Trying to rationalize the situation, the student concludes that unlike normal chi, telekinesis is an insane power that only the elite can master. Falling backward exhausted, the guy thinks it is surreal to have gotten such an overpowered skill without even graduating, and regrets that this is just a passing dream. Lacking the strength to keep overthinking it, the young man slowly closes his eyes and lets himself drift into the darkness of his mind. Waking up with a huge jump, Chen-Mu leaps up in his bed while trying to catch his breath from that intense experience. Completely confused by what he is seeing, the boy stares at his own glowing hand in the dark and tries to figure out what is going on in the real world. Noticing the changes in his own body, he feels an overflowing energy and notes that his mind is way sharper and clearer than usual. Staring at the punching bag in the corner of the room, the MC decides he needs to test firsthand if all that power from the dream actually crossed over to reality. With a focused and determined look, the student channels his energy and gets ready to throw a punch with all the strength he has. The impact of the punch is so absurd that it creates a massive sonic boom in the building, making the neighbors think there is an earthquake and setting off all the dogs. Amidst the dust, he confirms that his stats improved tremendously and decides to sprint to a martial arts center to take an official test. Still surprised by his own evolution, the young man is certain that this sudden strength is linked to the demonic beast he managed to overcome in the nightmare. At that exact moment, his eyes go wide as he remembers the most important and broken detail of that whole bizarre night. Hyped about the possibility, the guy wonders if the overpowered telekinesis he awakened in the dream also tagged along into real life. Standing in the middle of his wrecked room, the boy reaches his arm out toward the door to test if he can use the psychic ability. Focusing his thoughts on the doorknob, he tries to manipulate the invisible energy around his hand to perform the simple movement. But instead of opening smoothly, the door is completely blown off its hinges with a violent crash by the raw, uncontrolled force of the magic. Letting out a confident laugh surrounded by energy sparks, the MC celebrates the fact that he actually awakened that broken power. However, he soon snaps back to reality and realizes that getting stronger in this bizarre way just by sleeping is an incredibly overpowered advantage. Interrupting his train of thought, the smartwatch on his wrist starts ringing, grabbing his attention immediately. Answering the call, he sees the landlady's hologram letting him know she returned his rent money to help his family and asking him to stay a few more days. Touched by the woman's generous gesture, the young man genuinely thanks her, remembering that she always took great care of him since he moved in. Right then, the owner's little daughter crashes the screen almost in tears, begging her big bro not to leave because she is going to miss him so much. Trying to calm the little girl down, the student promises that as soon as she gets back from her family trip, they will go out to play together. Changing his stance, the boy tells the landlady he has decided to keep renting the room because he is going to give it his all to pass the school exam. Thrilled with the news, the woman celebrates his decision, revealing that the little girl was pouting hardcore over his departure. Wishing her tenant the best of luck and success on his journey, the family lovingly says goodbye and the holographic call finally ends. Chuckling, the guy notices that the kid swiped her mom's bracelet again to play with and thinks about how mischievous she still is. Yet looking around, panic sets in as he sees he turned the room into a war zone, and he mentally apologizes to his landlady for the mess. Later, with a technician fixing the damage, the MC asks the man to do a top-notch job while the guy wonders if there was an earthquake in there. Walking through the city streets, the student picks up the pace, focused on getting to the training center fast to gauge just how strong he has gotten. On the massive screens plastered across the buildings, the news reports that a military base bravely managed to push back another monster attack. After so many years of war against the beasts, a huge chunk of humanity was wiped out and only 5 major nations barely managed to survive. To prevent total extinction, these last remaining countries put their differences aside and formed a global alliance focused on survival. Arriving at his destination, the boy stops in front of an imposing, ultramodern building that serves as the region's main training hub. With the world revolving around combat, these places became essential for any fighter wanting to test their vitality and evolve. As soon as he steps into the spacious lobby, the MC is politely greeted by the establishment's receptionist. The woman asks what he would like to do there, and without wasting time, the young man straightforwardly asks to rent a private martial arts room. Swiftly confirming the request, the attendant starts tapping away at the system to book the space as fast as possible. Handing over the access card, she gives him the instructions for the room and informs him that the fee and alliance coins will be charged on his way out. While walking up the stairs to the second floor, the boy ends up getting mocked by other arrogant clients because of his plain clothes. Completely ignoring their mean comments about how he will never see any results training alone, the student focuses entirely on his goal. Locking the door to the room filled with advanced machines, he decides that step 1 is to measure his exact current level in the most direct way possible. With focused eyes, the MC channels his fiery energy into his fists, while the equipment system announces the start of the official evaluation. The machine's panel beeps, showing the exact score, leaving the guy completely amazed by the high vitality value he hit. Impressed as he looks at his own hands, he realizes he finally surpassed the mark needed to be considered a 1-star fighter. Clenching his fists tightly, the boy is in awe, thinking he got such a ridiculous power boost just from having a nightmare. Hyped about the discovery, he steps up to the impact equipment, wanting to find out how many pounds he can pack into a single punch. Propelling his body forward with incredible speed, the young man hits the target with a brutal and extremely fast strike. The screen registers almost 3,300 pounds of pure raw force, and he praises the machine's durability for taking the hit without breaking. Wrapped in lightning energy, the student concludes that if his speed test also hits the mark, he can just go grab his official license from the Alliance. Stepping onto the futuristic evaluation treadmill, the guy turns on the control system and tells the computer to start the motion tracking right away. Taking off in a frantic sprint in place, he uses all his newly acquired power, leaving behind an impressive trail of electricity. Looking at the excellent results on the panel, the boy still finds it unreal that a simple dream triggered such a massive upgrade in his legs. Lost in thought with the monster's shadow behind him, he wonders if other beasts are going to show up in his next nightmares for him to steal their stats. Sporting a dark and expectant look, the MC can barely wait to go to sleep and find out what awaits him late next night. Holding his family photo, he plans to get his license soon to secure the government salary and use the cash to upgrade everyone's life at home. Snapping back to reality, the young man looks around the room and decides it is safer not to test his telekinesis powers there to avoid drawing attention. Playing it safe with this bizarre situation, the guy figures that revealing a gift exclusive to masters while just being a rookie would be an unnecessary risk. Leaving the training center, Chen Mu heads to the front desk to settle his bill and head home. But all of a sudden, Wang Yu spots his former classmate in the lobby and finds it weird that the kid is in such an elite spot. Walking up with a smirk, the guy asks if he came crying for a retest and tells him he should just give up already. Glaring back with a dark expression, the MC questions if there was another reason for his expulsion besides his drop in vitality. Finding the situation funny, Wang Yu flips the question, wanting to know if he genuinely has no clue what happened. Laughing hysterically, the fake friend says he offended Li Tian over a woman and completely deserved to get kicked out. At that moment, Chen Mu remembers this guy is a two-star martial artist from a wealthy family and tries to piece together the conflict. Putting the pieces together, the student realizes the issue can only be his past interactions with Yu Qington. Since the Li and Yu families have marriage ties, he used to always say hi to the girl because she was his sister's classmate. With that in mind, the MC inwardly sighs that the rich kid holds such a grudge over such a stupid reason. Getting back his posture, Wang Yu praises his intelligence and reveals that the instructor took a bribe to guarantee his expulsion. Making sure to rub it in, the blonde kid sarcastically asks if the feeling of getting booted from school feels great. Angered by the betrayal, Chen Mu says the two of them were like brothers and that he was blind for not seeing who he truly was. Completely unhinged, Wang Yu yells that someone like him would never be worthy of being his brother if it were not to help Li Tian. Cracking his knuckles, the boy steps up, demanding to know what the backstabber got in return for playing pretend for so long. Getting right in his face, Wang Yu warns him that his vitality will never recover and that his destiny is to be a total loser. Surprised by the confession, the boy grabs the traitor's collar, realizing his problem was not caused by the nightmares. Gripping his shirt furiously, the MC demands to know if his ex-friend was the one responsible for ruining his strength. Caught off guard by the sudden move, the blonde kid hesitates for a second after being yanked so violently. But he quickly gets his arrogance back, daring the boy to prove anything and calling him a useless piece of trash. Oozing confidence, the traitor tells him that even if he reports it to the authorities, nobody in the city is going to pick a fight for his sake. Listening to all of this in silence, Chen Mu lets his energy overflow, giving off a terrifying pressure in the room. Breaking free from his grip, Wang Yu mocks his opponent's anger and asks if he seriously thinks he can land a hit. Meanwhile, the people outside start noticing the commotion and wonder what the fight is all about. Charging up his own energy, the blonde kid promises to teach him a severe lesson to show him what happens when you offend a near graduate. Unfazed, the MC lets out sparks of power, stating that he is the one who should be saying those words. Locking onto his opponent, Chen Mu clearly notices that the other guy's moves are way too slow and full of openings. Rushing in with everything, Wang Yu tries to strike, but the boy is absolutely certain that the level gap between them is massive now. Without breaking a sweat, the student effortlessly dodges the enemy's punch just by slightly shifting his body to the side. Whiffing straight through the air, the traitor is left dumbfounded seeing that his strike did not even come close to hitting the mark. Seizing the perfect opening, Chen Mu lands a devastating punch right into his opponent's stomach. Feeling the absurd impact, Wang Yu gags, trying to understand how that loser got so fast. The force of the blow is so crushing that the traitor's feet completely lift off the ground instantly. Unable to defend himself, the blonde kid is brutally launched backward, flying across the center's entire lobby. His body shatters the building's glass doors with a huge crash, landing violently in the outside area. Kicking up a cloud of dust on the spot, the MC's figure appears imposing amidst the destruction. Watching the scene in pure shock, the crowd cannot believe a skilled fighter got sent flying like that. Walking slowly through the debris, Chen Mu gives off a terrifying pressure that silences everyone around. With his eyes glowing with pure energy, he hears people whispering that he is already a true one-star master. Keeping his cool, the boy apologizes to the receptionist and tells her to put the door's damages on his tab. The young man guarantees he will pay for everything properly as soon as he gets his official government allowance for martial artists. Super nervous about the situation, the lady just nods while the defeated guy stays down in the dirt outside. Coughing uncontrollably, Wang Yu drags himself, refusing to accept being humiliated so easily by that loser. Stepping firmly on the back of the traitor, the MC mercilessly pins his body against the ground. Totally pinned down and panicking, the blonde kid asks if he lost his mind, warning him that ending someone means a severe penalty. Ignoring the threats, Chenmu demands that his ex-friend confess right away what substance was used against him. Pinned to the floor completely overpowered, Wang Yu chooses to keep his mouth shut in pure silence so he does not incriminate himself. Analyzing his attitude, the MC concludes that they actually used some kind of toxin to drain his vitality. Right then, a man from the crowd warns the boy that assault might slide, but going too far is a very serious crime. Taking his foot off the coward, the student calmly says he was holding back the whole time. After all, with his current strength, a single full-power punch would be enough to wipe out that trash instantly. Walking away from the scene, the young man inwardly promises that he always pays back in full and that Li Tian is going to pay dearly. The crowd parts ways to let him through, still stunned by the humiliating beatdown they just witnessed on the street. Grinding his teeth in hatred, the traitor wonders how the boy got so strong even after being poisoned by the blood pill. Desperate, the blonde kid decides to report everything to Li Tian, remembering that his family's influence runs the whole city. Being the grandson of the school's vice principal and backed by a powerful master, crushing his former friend will be the easiest thing in the world. Punching the ground in a rage, Wang Yu swears he's going to make that loser get on his knees and beg for mercy. Far from there, night falls over the city's north side, lighting up the modest apartment buildings in the neighborhood where the Chen family lives. Walking back home, the MC realizes that the traitor sold his loyalty in exchange for perks at school. Stretching his arms excitedly, he focuses on his plan to get his official license the next morning to pull his family out of poverty. Arriving at his building, the boy is confident that by moving to a wealthy district, the Li family will not have the power to threaten them. Standing in front of his apartment door, he knocks gently and hears a sweet voice ask who is there. Opening the door cheerfully, Chen Zuru, the MC's twin sister, is surprised by the unexpected visit. Patting her on the head, the guy says he missed them, but she quickly asks about the reasons behind his expulsion from school. The girl shows a look of pure confusion, trying to make sense of the bad rumors going around. However, she quickly changes the subject and is amazed to notice how muscular her brother's body has gotten out of nowhere. Their mom soon shows up in the hallway to welcome her son, lovingly scolding him that he should have given a heads up about his visit. Walking into the house, his sister tries to steer the conversation back to the martial arts exams to see how he is doing. But their mom interrupts the lively chat, promising to cook all the best dishes to celebrate the get-together. A little while later, Chen Mu devours a colossal amount of food at an alarming speed, clearing out multiple bowls. Watching that bizarre scene, the boy's dad sweats bullets, asking his wife if their son always ate like that. Satisfied with the meal, the MC wipes his mouth and takes on an extremely serious posture at the dinner table. With a focused look, he gets his parents' attention to call an urgent family meeting and announce something vital. Without beating around the bush, the student reveals he got his strength professionally tested and already has the level to be a one-star artist. Shocked by the unreal news, his mom and sister freeze, thinking he is making up nonsense about something so serious. Breaking the silence, Chenmu confirms the story is real and guarantees he is going to take the official one-star exam the next morning. In total shock, his little sister recalls that her aptitude for martial arts was always a bit better. Confused, the girl wonders how her brother managed to reach the martial artist level before her. Considering that great news, his mom asks what the meeting is about. Right then, the boy explains that he now has the means to provide for the house. The MC asks his dad to stop working and stay home taking care of his mom, leaving all the family's expenses on him. His dad quickly protests the idea, stating he is not too old to keep grinding just yet. Soon his sister also turns down the proposal, saying she will work hard to earn a scholarship so she does not leave him carrying everything alone. Hearing their protests, the young man looks seriously at the girl and the man. But his mom goes against the two of them, raising her hand and declaring that she fully supports her son's decision. Stunned by the unexpected answer, the girl and the father question her stance. The woman claims she knows her son very well and demands to know what is actually going on behind all this. Holding nothing back, Chen Mu reveals that someone rich is targeting him and warns that his dad could become a target if he keeps working. Understanding the danger of the situation, the dad agrees with the boy's perspective, while his mom asks that they face their problems together. The student swears he is going to train hard to protect all of them. Sensing his sincerity, his sister realizes he is not lying. The girl then pieces things together in short circuits, as she remembers that the school would never expel a fully fledged martial artist. With that logic in mind, the girl deduces in shock that her brother awakened his powers overnight. Later, the MC tries to get some rest in his room while reflecting on recent events. Suddenly, he opens his eyes upon noticing some movement in the hallway. Chenzuru slowly opens his bedroom door and asks what in the world really happened. Baffled by the timeline, she demands to know how he got expelled in the morning and became a martial artist by night. The boy confirms his newfound strength and explains that he really did offend a big shot, which caused his unfair expulsion from school. Changing her tone, his sister lets him know he does not need to spill his secrets, just asking him to be careful and not get hurt. Full of swagger, the girl reminds him he still has a prodigy sister who tops the rankings at her high school. Chuckling, he plays along with the joke, and the girl tells him to go to sleep already because she has early classes. The young girl turns around and calmly walks back to her own room. Alone once more, the student concludes that his vitality drop was not caused by the nightmares and wonders if the dream will come back. Since his mental training turned into real power, he eagerly waits to see if he will face the crow again or a brand new beast. With no more distractions, the guy closes his eyes and gives in to sleep to find out the answer. Waking up in the middle of that ruined landscape, the boy celebrates that the dream world is still fully active. However, he soon realizes something is very wrong when a giant foot crushes the ground near him. Feeling the overwhelming pressure, the young man notices that this thing's aura is way beyond the blood crows. A colossal shadow moves swiftly in his direction, kicking up a ton of dust. Riding the impact, a massive monster drops from the sky, shattering the ground with brutal fury. The creature reveals itself to be a giant demonic ape that lets out a terrifying roar, scattering debris everywhere. Immediately, the boy's watch scans the threat and classifies the beast as a demon soldier-level monster. The system displays frightening data on its weight, speed, and strength, highlighting the deadly black flames in the beast's eyes. Staring down that colossus, the student feels a chill down his spine from the absurd oppression radiating from the animal's predatory instinct. But instead of backing down, the MC clenches his fists, gathering all his courage and focused energy. Full of determination, he calls the beast out for a fight and charges in for a head-on clash. Answering the taunt, the giant ape roars with hatred while the boy fearlessly leaps into combat.